You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey, Sister Wives fans, let's talk about Mykelti Brown's recent reveal about Kody Brown and how he handled it when he stumbled onto newfound wealth. But before we get into the strange details, please click that subscribe button below if you are not following us. As fans wait for the second half of Sister Wives season 19 to kick off this weekend, they like to go looking elsewhere to get scoop on the Brown family to tide them over between episodes. And there is no shortage of ex-wives and kids of Kody Brown that are keeping fans in the loop. Mykelti's latest reveal about Kody Brown starts with a comparison. Before the Sister Wives reality show made her family famous, Mykelti says the family was poor. She said holidays came and went without many gifts, and instead, her mom Christine would make a holiday breakfast to mark the day, and Mykelti talked about how she'd make red heart-shaped pancakes for Valentine's Day because there weren't gifts. And she also talked about the house they all lived in with Kody when he had only 3 wives. That was the home they shared in Lehigh, Utah, where Christine Brown said she was the, quote, basement wife. And Mykelti also talked about that home was her favorite out of the many places Kody's family has lived before they found fame and fortune, but it also sounded a little bittersweet for Mykelti. And apparently the source of her happiness in that house came from living with her siblings under one roof, along with Kody, Meri, Christine, and Janelle. So all the siblings from all the wives. But Mykelti also mentions that the house does hold some negative memories for her too, but then she didn't dig too much into that, maybe because it was too painful. But what was very interesting is she made it clear that before TLC came along, Kody and his wives and all their kids were poor and they didn't have enough sometimes. And it's a drastically different reality than what we see now on Sister Wives episodes, 19 seasons in. So this topic came up when Mykelti and her husband, Tony Padron, rewatched an old episode from way back in season 4. They've been rewatching and talking about old Sister Wives episodes during the mid-season break. And Mykelti and Tony's comments are sometimes kind of revealing, sometimes funny, sometimes snarky. So Mykelti and Tony were talking about season 4 and a scene when Kody brought flowers to his 4 wives, Meri, Janelle, Christine, and Robyn. And the occasion was Valentine's Day. And Mykelti kind of lit up talking about it because it seemed to spark a memory. When Kody brought flowers to the wives, Mykelti said that was the first time that her dad had money to spend on this. After years of being broke, according to his daughter, Kody had finally landed on a way to make enough money to provide better for Janelle, Christine, Meri, Robyn, and all the kids. And this was a treat that apparently Kody hadn't been able to give his wives before: gorgeous flowers for Valentine's Day. Up until then, Mykelti said the Brown family was just pretty broke. But even though Kody was trying to treat his wives to something special, Mykelti also said that her dad, Kody, got it wrong because instead of Robyn getting the purple flower arrangement, it went to another of Kody's wives. But the thing is, Robyn's favorite color is purple. So even though it was nice, it was still something of a miss. But the bigger point that Mykelti was making about the flowers was the cost. They were expensive, and it was very different because Kody was finally able to shell out a pile of money for gifts for his 4 wives. And Mykelti also said that Valentine's Day was the first time the kids ever got chocolates for the holiday. Up until then, Kody, she says, was struggling to support his huge family and 4 brides. And Mykelti said that this episode was the first time you could really see that Kody was starting to rake in big bucks after years of barely scraping by. And fans have noticed that although Meri, Janelle, and Christine lived for many years with Kody being in the poorhouse, Robyn came along right as the money came along, And thanks to Kody and the deal that he got for the Sister Wives series, things changed drastically. And that change seemed to align when Robyn came into the family. And Sister Wives fan pointed out that before she married Kody, Robyn knew they were launching the reality show. Because if you recall, TLC filmed Robyn and Kody's courtship for season 1, and Robyn and Kody's wedding was also part of that season. And that means pretty much from the moment Robyn was joining the family, TV money was already starting to roll in, although clearly not as much as they raked in by the time it hit season 4. And Mykelti said the family finally had bigger bucks than they ever had before. So it's just interesting that Robyn didn't seem to have to live with Kody through the really lean times like the other wives did. And Mykelti said in a recent video post that she was talking about a timeline of being poor before Robyn entered the family. And Mykelti was recalling that they finally at that point stopped having to just scrape by and make do with meager amounts of clothes and, poor quality stuff. And they were making do with cheap stuff. But starting in season 4, apparently Kody's wives began to buy nicer outfits and have a lot more disposable income. So Mykelti basically sees season 4 as when Kody and the Browns finally had money to spend freely rather than just squeaking by. Mykelti said the family's bills got paid, and then they had extra money for new cars and increasingly bigger houses. And of course, Sister Wives fans have wondered if these lean years led Meri, Janelle, and Christine to have a very different mindset about money compared to Kody's last wife, and now his only wife, Robyn Brown. Janelle Brown was always frugal on Sister Wives. She has said many times throughout the seasons, oh, we can't afford this or that, or she just didn't want, she's not someone who splurges, She and Christine and Meri even now seem to handle money more carefully. Meanwhile, Kody and Robyn Brown are rumored to be spending and living beyond their means. And that didn't come from fan theory, by the way. Kody's daughter, Gwendolyn Brown, said this a while back on social media. But after learning that Robyn has an apparently extravagant and costly art collection and a $60,000 doll collection, it's kind of easy for fans to see where she and Kody are hemorrhaging money. There's a lot of spending going on. But there it is, confirmed by Mykelti Brown Padron. It's kind of a rags to riches story for Kody Brown that happened on camera. Can you imagine how things would have gone if they hadn't lucked into the Sister Wives series? I really wonder if Robyn would have married Kody, if she would have joined the family or not, if there wasn't money on the table with the promise of a lot more money coming. It's interesting to consider, isn't it?
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.